Ladies and gentlemen, how's everyone today? I want to thank you. Of course, this is Marlon Greer for another episode of the Fly Report. And normally we're all energetic, feel good stories and things of that nature. But today we have to, it's things going on in the world. It's real issues that we really have to address. And I have a very special guest today, a good friend of ours. We got a lot of things that we work on together. But I want to introduce her, Miss Emerald Snipes. How are you, Emerald?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All right, pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for coming on. And ladies and gentlemen,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, definitely. And ladies and gentlemen, for everybody that's watching now, if you don't know who this young lady is, this is the daughter of Eric Garner. And again, I wish we was talking under other circumstances, but with everything that's happening with George Floyd, it seems like too often we see the same thing, and it's like this was 6 years ago, with your dad, right? And it's like it was like yesterday we seen the same thing. So I just want to have you on first of all to see how you're doing and see your thoughts, on everything that's happening today. So first of all, how are you?
I'm better. In the words of one of my movement sisters, I'm unstoppable.
Right, there you go. Definitely, definitely. And I know this brings up a lot of memories for you, as far as the horrific incident that happened to your dad. And it's just I don't know, we're here too much, and it seems like it's been exacerbated with the last like couple of incidents, with the young lady in Kentucky,
Mhm.
brother jogging, and now with George Floyd. And I mean, it never stopped. Like, what are your thoughts on this? I mean,
Well, first of all, I just want to give condolences to anybody who lost a loved one, and I want to send my condolences to the family of George Floyd, especially because I know
definitely,
it's hard watching that video.
yeah.
As you know, I didn't watch the video of my father until about 5 years after it happened. I did want to let it be known that I feel that if the Eric Garner law was in place right now, then there wouldn't be another Ahmaud Arbery, and there wouldn't be a Breonna Taylor, and there wouldn't be a George Floyd. I honestly truly believe that because we were pushing for the law for so long, and it's been put at a standstill due to COVID-19, and now it's like we don't hear anything about it. But if that law was in place, which would federally indict the officers, appoint an independent prosecutor on all police brutality cases, and have the officers face life in prison, then I don't think that this would have been happening the way it is. They know that they are not going to be held accountable, so that's why it's still happening.
Yeah, that's a great point because it seems like all of this is just getting worse. Because you see, like you mentioned, Breonna Taylor. Now she's at home in her house. She's not on the street. She's
Nope.
not doing anything. She's in her home,
Minding her damn business.
minding her business. You look at the brother Ahmaud Arbery. He's jogging. He's doing nothing.
Probably listening to his favorite song.
And this is the thing that really bothers me because, as you know, I have 3 kids. 2 of them are 2 black males, and and when you look at this is what I tell my kids: don't resist, don't say anything, get the officer's badge number, just try to comply, and then after that we can fight it. Once
Mhm.
you're fine. But then when you comply and you do all of those things, and that happens,
And
then
they still end up killing you.
what do you do? So it shows that it's a bigger problem. And it's not the fact that they're nervous or they feel like we're not complying. It's the fact I believe in that we're the problem.
Right. They see us as the problem. They see
Right.
us as the antagonizer, but you're coming to us bothering us.
And it's the most ridiculous thing. And when I look at the just I mean, I couldn't sleep like the last couple of days after you see someone being murdered in front of your eyes. And
Hmm.
these people, these officers are paid to diffuse situations, to de-escalate
Protect and serve.
and protect and serve. Now you have people on the side showing more judgment for humanity and showing more
passion and empathy.
and definitely more empathy, but de-escalating it, just telling the officer, look, this man can't breathe. Look,
Mm-hmm.
stand up. Look, he's motionless. You know, just giving them all type of cues without showing any anger or being violent,
Mm-hmm.
but just to talk to them, and that still did nothing.
Right. It did nothing. Like, you literally felt the life go out of his body. He begged and pleaded, just as my father did. And it's ridiculous. And now we're finding out that they used to work together. That he has a prior
Right,
history with this man. And
right.
I said it had to be planned. Like I needed a reason. I needed a
Mhm.
reason. And they say, oh, first they say he was forging a check. Then they say he was using a fake $20 bill. Now they're saying that he was a porn star and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, we wouldn't be worried about none of that if we could kill him.
And you know what? And even if he was all of those things,
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
he deserved to
The
die.
penalty is not death.
No, it's
We
not
would
for
not be
that.
worried about his history and his life if he was not broadcasted in front of the world for being killed.
Exactly. So I really don't understand how you even equate, but we know that whole bait and switch, you try to deflect people and everything.
Yep.
No, we're not having that. You got to give us a little more credit than that. So
Mm-hmm.
it really
Right.
doesn't matter. We witnessed a murder.
Right. They're telling us we didn't see what we saw. Exactly what they did in my father's situation. Oh, you didn't see what you saw. What you saw was resisting. What you
Right,
saw was this. What you saw was that. And it's like, no, I saw what I saw with my own
right,
eyes.
right, exactly. And I'm telling you, thank God for the person with the camera footage, because
Yes, absolutely.
if we didn't get that, we would have had to rely on the body cam footage that they released.
Exactly. Yep.
I didn't see anything. Only
I
thing I
didn't see
saw was a
anything.
bunch of black squares. And
Yep. That's all I saw.
wait, I saw maybe an angle of the furthest officer away from George Floyd.
Didn't see anything.
So thank God for the person who was taping. And
Yes.
what should happen? Well, I feel this is what I feel like, and I'm not a lawyer. Some people said I felt like he should be charged with first degree of murder, manslaughter.
Absolutely.
I feel like the other officers there should be charged with first degree murder as well.
Absolutely.
They was there and they had a chance to stop it and they didn't, so they're just as bad as them doing it themselves. Like, what's your feelings on that?
I think everybody should go to jail for life. In my father's situation, the other officers that were involved were given immunity for prosecution or anything, and Danny Pantaleo stood alone. That was number one, and number two,
Right,
they put
right,
they had such a crappy case that they couldn't make the charges stick. Number three, the federal government got involved, and they said that they didn't see no reason to file charges. So if you're giving one person immunity, if you're giving five people immunity and you're only putting one person up, which is the person who did the deed and did the murder, why aren't they being held accountable? Like
right.
again and again, we see no accountability, and that's the major issue.
And the fact that you even give somebody immunity infers that something happened.
Something happened
What are
exactly.
they getting immunity from?
And that's why my sister was trying to get the transcript released from the grand jury, because
Right,
we wanted to know, like, what did you investigate? What was the evidence that you presented? Because
right,
if the CCRB is saying that they saw something wrong and there's reason for him to be fired, why aren't you saying there's reason for him to be put in jail for life? If he's
right,
guilty
exactly.
and loses his job, why isn't he immediately arrested after?
Right. And the point is too, and that's a great point that you make up, because it's wicked people in the world. We understand that. And things happen. But the issue too that's even enrages people more is, I feel like the reason why these things happen and they keep happening because the powers that be never impose any consequences.
Exactly.
And it
There's
keeps,
never any consequence.
and the more you get away with something, the more braver you get. And it just keeps escalating to the point now it's just, now that's another part.
That
Like,
was blatant disrespect. I feel like exactly
right,
what happened to George Floyd was blatant disrespect. You saw
right,
the video. You
right,
saw Eric Garner. You know who Eric Garner was. You know
right,
who we are. You know
right,
who Erica was. You saw all of us out there laying in the street protesting and doing
right,
everything. You saw that shit. I'm sorry.
right,
You saw it. You
right.
saw it. Like,
right.
so you can't say that you didn't know who Eric Garner was. You could not say that. Nobody could turn on
Exactly.
the TV without seeing Eric Garner. So there's no way that you could say that you didn't see that.
And it's just so much that this has to happen. This has to change. Just like everything, we almost have to push a reset on everything that's happening now. We have to stop it and start fresh.
Yep.
And because it's just like you said, the blatant disrespect, and they get bolder and bolder and bolder. And that leads me to like the next situation. So now and I believe too that we really have to stay focused, because a lot I was just watching the news earlier, and Trump was asking for MAGA supporters to come to the White House. So now, if you have people protesting George Floyd and everything that happened, and not only that, but all the injustice and just the horrible environment that we had to live in for the last 400 years, and you invite your people down, what are you asking for?
You're asking for chaos. That's exactly what he's doing. He's asking for chaos. We already know Blump, where he stands on on social justice issues. He put out a whole LinkedIn ad in the newspaper for my dear brother Corey Wise and the people who were in the Central Park Five who were falsely accused. So
Right,
we already know where he stands on racial
right.
issues. He's trying
And
to
he
incite a
was
riot.
pushing for the death penalty with them, if I'm not.
Exactly. So you're
Yeah,
not pushing for a death penalty for these kind of things? Come on, like
right,
it's come on, it's a no win. Like we were just
right,
sheltering in place because of COVID-19. Nobody said
right,
anything about COVID-19 today because they're so worried about the riots.
right, right,
Everybody is so consumed with the riots and everything. I don't agree with the riots, but I agree
right,
with the anger. I agree with the frustration. I agree that enough is enough.
right.
Like, what is it really going to take for you to stop killing us? Do we need to rebel against the police officers? Because that's what it looks like it's turning into. And that's a very dangerous situation.
Very dangerous, and nobody wants it to go there.
Nobody wants that.
Right. Nobody wants it to go there. And I hear a lot of brothers and sisters talking about the riots and how can we do that. Now, me, for one, I take the stance that you take. I do not agree with the riots of stores and things of that nature.
Vandalizing property, I don't agree with
And my
that.
reason is because, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying, but like, I agree with the anger. I agree with the frustration. I know why.
Right, right, exactly. And my main reason for not liking the loot and stuff in your own area, because at the end of the day, when the dust settles, that's the supermarket that you have to go to. That's the
Absolutely.
cleaners that you have to get your clothes
Yep.
from. And a lot of times you impact the other business owners that look like you or think like you in that
Yep.
area. And that's my problem. But like you said, I understand the anger. You can't really tell someone how to be upset. Like you
Yep.
can't tell
Yes.
someone how to grieve. You can't tell these things. The best way of stopping it is not doing the things that cause these people to have those feelings.
Exactly. Holding people accountable. I guarantee you, if that officer was indicted and charged
Yeah,
with murder today, the riots would stop. If
right.
the officers in every police brutality case that so-called got off because they said, "Oh, I feared for my life," let's reopen all those cases. I promise
Mhm,
you that
mhm.
the riots will stop.
Right,
Stop
right.
killing us, and we won't need a reason to riot. We won't need a
Right.
reason to stand outside and during a national pandemic.
And which is another, another point you bring up. It's a national pandemic, so we're out fighting for our rights, but at the
Risking our lives to fight
the
for our
numbers are
risking our lives
increasing.
to fight for Black lives.
Right. It's just ridiculous. And then now, it's so many layers to this. That's why
So many, so many.
you have to stay focused. And I see it's a lot of white people on the line as well. And I want to talk about this because I have a lot of white friends and
Right.
a lot of Chinese friends. I have a lot of Indian friends. I have a lot
Yes.
of friends. I'm a lover of people, good people. Now, and it's important that this doesn't get caught into a black or white thing or a black
Right.
cops thing. No, it's not. I have a lot of friends that's officers as well.
Right.
One of my good friends, Anthony Kaiser, me and Dave's buddy, he helps us out with a lot of stuff we do with the youth. That function we did at Eagle that
Right.
you were at, he was there. But
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to clarify our problem is, but I don't want to speak for all black people either, but I feel like our problem as black people is not with white people and it's not with police officers. It's with racist white
With
people.
racist white people,
Police
racist
officers.
police officers. As I said, because people used to ask me, "Do you hate cops?"
Right,
A couple of years ago, like right after my father passed away,
right,
two officers were murdered in Brooklyn, in
right,
my neighborhood where I used to live. I
right,
used to live not too far from where where those cops were killed. I used to hang out in that exact same park near Marcy Project. I
right.
used to hang out over there. So when they said that those officers were killed because of your father, and I just had to go out there and let them know, if Eric
Mm-hmm,
Garner was never killed, there would be no reason for anything to do anything in his name. And they
mm-hmm.
tried to say, "Do you hate cops?" I don't hate cops. I got cops in my family. My
Right,
grandmother is a Hasidic Jew and an African American. My
right.
great grandfather is a Hasidic Jew. Lawrence
Okay,
Vaughn was a Hasidic Jew.
right.
Lorraine Braxton, those were my great grandparents. One was black, one was white. They had 22 kids. We have a big family, and half of
Right.
our family is white, half of our family is black. Come on, like I'm not hating against white people and all this other stuff. Shout out to my dear friend Jackie Johnson, who is white. And
Mm-hmm.
she is like one of the most amazing people that stands on the front line all the time and fights for justice. So it's not about, oh, it's a black thing, it's a white, it's a racist thing. Because there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of black racist people as well. So we
Yeah.
can't say that, oh, it's just one person, one type. It's all
Mhm.
around. We need to call everybody out. Speaking of calling out, we need to call out everybody. Like
Yeah,
I'm
we
doing a
yeah,
national
we
call
have
on
to.
Monday. I'm calling out every elected official. I don't care if you say rest in peace Eric Garner or not. I'm still calling you out because I need you to stand behind me on a national level.
No, yeah,
Everything needs to be taken national.
and you know what? That's a great segue. Because I was gonna save that for last, but
Oh,
again, no, but again, a great segue because again, we can't keep talking about these things. And you and I were speaking, a couple of times, about this earlier, a couple of occasions, and it has to be some type of change. So we at Fly TV, what we're going to do is do something that is our responsibility. It's not all about entertainment and sports and things of that nature. That stuff takes a back seat now because we're all human and it's about social issues. So Emerald, as a matter of fact, Emerald, you talk about the new partnership that we have moving forward.
yes, so I'm working on a lot of things. I'm working on a lot of different things. As you know, I've been very active. Not
Yes.
everything I do is put in the media. Not everything that I do has a spotlight on it. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine with
Mhm.
that. So when we talked about creating my podcast, when we talked about my podcast, I talked about, a lot of people get on these shows and they get the activists and the activists go and speak for them. And, they say, oh, I'm speaking for the family. I'm representing the family. All the while we have our own voice. And
Right.
my purpose, which is going to be my passion, and it is my passion, is
Mhm.
to give a voice to the voiceless for real. So I don't want to talk and say, oh yeah, I spoke to the family member and they said blah blah blah. I want to say, hey, go call this family member that was, for example, George Tillman's sister. Go call her and ask her what she feels,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
we were on a call, on my sister's call, and we opened up the floor to questions. She feels hopeless. She feels like she's never going to get justice. She feels like her loved one is forgotten. And I'm sure
Mhm.
that there's a whole bunch of
Right.
people who feel that exact same way because we were thrust into this activism and people feel they need to speak for us.
Right.
So along with the podcast, I'm doing a national call with Violence in Boston, Monica, and we have a bunch of people, and we're gonna have a survivor-led conversation. We're not calling ourselves victims because I don't want to be a victim no more. I'm gonna label
Mhm.
myself as a survivor
Right.
because my sister didn't survive this movement. My sister
Right.
died of a massive heart attack at 27. So she didn't survive this movement, and I'm surviving for her while raising her two children, which one of them is a black man, and I'm
Mhm.
raising two black girls to be up to be black women. And I want to give a voice to the people who I want to actually give a voice to the people who are feeling this and going through this. And when they say, I know how you feel, I believe them because they've been in my shoes. They
Mhm.
know how I feel. They know about my ups and downs. They know about some days I don't want to get out the bed. I don't want to look at my phone. And they definitely understand that feeling. So I want to make it my mission to bring together families and family members of people because they always say, who's the face of the case? Who's the face of the case? And it's not about who's the face of the case. Who's the family? What
Mhm.
about the family?
Right.
You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't know Eric Garner had a wife." That's your fault because you didn't investigate. So you're just screaming a name for somebody that you don't know the history for.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, like it doesn't stop at one family member. None of the victims of police brutality have one family member or two family members. There's a whole family. So why is everybody not getting the same love? So that's why I wanted to say, like, I'm doing this national call to call out elected officials to stand behind the Eric Garner law, the Andrew Kearse Act, and the Stephon Clark law. And we want those all to be passed on a local and federal level. We want independent prosecutors. We want policies changed. We want cultural sensitivity put inside of the police department training. We want those type of things. And I appreciate everybody who's protesting. You're risking your life to protest. And I pray that you are safe, make a home safe to your family, because it's very dangerous out here. But at this time, I can't protest. I can't go out. I'm one of the people that have asthma. I cannot contract coronavirus and bring it home to my 94-year-old grandmother, my 2-year-old, my 8-year-old, and my 10-year-old. So I'm trying to do as much virtual protest, as much virtual rooms and everything that I could get, so people can stand behind these policies. Because activism is not one thing. Fighting for justice is not just standing outside. It's not just getting arrested. The real change is going to come in the laws. It's going to come in the policies. It's going to come in the training. It's going to come in. It's going to come in the form. We have to build up our young people to be the next police officers, the next judges, the next lawyers. And who's the example for them?
Right.
Racist cops, racist judges, cover-ups. So we need us in those positions. So that's the initiative that I'm fighting for, and I'm just asking everybody to stand behind me, because this is what is needed. We need this to happen now. If Eric Garner law was in place right now today, I promise, I truly believe with my whole heart that there would not be another George Tillman, because that officer would have said, "You know what? Let me not do to him what happened to Eric Garner, because I will go to jail. I will be prosecuted, and I will."
Exactly. And that's a great point. So, with so many initiatives, I know you had a great call the other day that we was on, with a lot of the families that's been victims of police brutality. That was on Friday. And that was very inspiring. And then with the show This Stops Today, which is going to be on Fly TV. This is tremendous, because there's so many of these incidents that's happening that people don't even know about.
No, they don't.
And that's what I want us to really focus on.
Yes.
Shedding light, and like you said, giving a voice to the voiceless. And we have to stand together every time. And if we do this, and it's continually, and we're conscious strategically, then it won't happen again. Because rest will keep going and keep the fight going, because the movement continues.
Because 9 times out of 10, what happens is, just like with George Tillman and Sandra Bland and Mike Brown and all of the other victims, excuse me, after my father, their names only get called when there's another victim.
Right.
There's no name called in between that. Like for 2 years, I wasn't on the circuit. You could look it up. I was not on the circuit. You can check my Instagram, my Facebook. I was not doing interviews after my sister died, because I took time for me to grieve. And I said, when I feel like doing it, that's what I'm going to do. Only time I came out is when Eton called me. Only time that I came out of hiding is when Eton called me, because he's one of the people that said, you got to do what you got to do for you before you can do stuff for other people. You need yourself to be well. He always says that, mental health, doing things. Call me if you need me. Even when I got in contact with you, call me if you need me. If you need something, just call me. And I pick up my phone and I call, and y'all always answer. So, like, I took those 2 years to build myself up, to figure out who I wanted to be. Because I was being who the media wanted me to be. I was being who the activists wanted me to be. So I needed to come to my own and do my own thing. So I started working for foster care. I started doing some work with Mega Everest College. I started doing some work with other organizations and other places that didn't have to do with mainstream media, because I needed to figure out what I wanted to do. And for those 2 years, I was raising my sister's children. They needed to get used to being in a home. Having a parent that goes to work every day, you have after school, you have activities, you have daycare, you have social time with your friends, while all dealing with this grief that you have on your heart. My niece was 7 years old. She was 8 years old when her mother passed away. That hurt was going to go away. And I have to every day to be strong for her, to make sure that she doesn't fall through the cracks, make sure that her mentality is good, and make sure that she is fine. So for 2 years, I took some time off. So I want people to know, like, it's okay to say no to an interview. Like right now, I can guarantee that family feels like I need to do every interview, hit every media, answer every activist that calls me, because I want my family's voice to be heard. I don't want to be silent. And I said the one advice that I would give to them is not watch the video, but I already seen a couple of interviews and they said they watched the video. And if I had the means to say, let me reach out to this family right now, don't watch the video. Take some time, turn off your phone, get your mental together, go see a doctor, get a checkup. Even if you're not sick, just go talk to somebody, vent your feelings, yell and scream and do all that. Because when my father died, I did not take that time. And I watched myself in interviews and I could see, and I watched my sister in interviews and I could see the decline. I could see the decline in my eyes. I could see the decline in my face. I could see the decline in my skin, like from how I looked on July 16th, the day before my